And good day and welcome to the Constitution Line by Line. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier. I teach history, and he teaches
Political science. Yes, indeed.
So we're going to take a look at this from two different angles.
That's our hope. That's our goal.
That's our conversation.
That's right. And we're using a book here, Edward F. Cook's A Detailed Analysis of the Constitution. He was the one who provided a breakdown of each line, and so we're using this as a jumping off place. I've used this book in my classes for years, and it's a delight to use it now in this context. So,
Absolutely.
Are we ready?
Ready to go. What's our line?
All right, we are on Article 1, Section 5. We're talking about the proceedings of Congress. And Clause 1, this is about judges of its own members. Are you ready?
Judges of its own members. I can't wait.
That's right. All right. Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But smaller number may adjourn from day to day and be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Whoa.
Okay. Somebody's going to have to translate that.
Okay, basically there's 2 points here. Number one, each house shall be the judge of its own members.
What's that mean?
That means that in the end, each house determines who gets to be a member of it. So if you have someone who was elected in a really screwy election.
Okay, or somebody decided to throw a protest vote and elect a cat. A house cat.
There you go. Well, that would be a little bizarre.
Or maybe a professional wrestler from Minnesota.
Maybe, but he ran for the governorship.
I understand, but,
yes.
Next step.
Yeah. But anyway, basically what it allows is each house to decide who can be a member. So the people elect, but it's the house that has to certify, yeah, that's who we're going to get. Now, this has actually been an issue.
Yeah, it's come up.
This year.
This very year, and also back in about, 1867.
You tell the 1867.
Well, after the Civil War, under presidential reconstruction, most of the states in the former Confederacy came back in. They were readmitted because they were able to get 10% of the population and some other stipulations to sign off an oath of loyalty to the United States. A bunch of them were pardoned by President Andrew Johnson. And so the former Confederates responded by electing former Confederates to Congress.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. So, you had a lot of congressmen that had just spent a big chunk of their energy defeating the Confederacy, now looking at the people that were the chief architects of the Confederacy, thinking of Alexander Stephens of Georgia in particular, coming back to serve in Congress.
Yeah, he was the vice president.
He was vice president of the Confederacy.
So there he was, a traitor to the country.
Well, in some eyes, absolutely. A patriot in others. But
so did they let them in?
No, actually they said, no, you guys can't come.
Okay.
And they just said, y'all got to go away. Send us somebody that we find acceptable.
Okay.
And I think this...
Right, and this goes to the heart of it. Now, what has happened over time is that people who have not met the qualifications have challenged it. And they said the Constitution clearly says these are the qualifications to be in the House or the Senate. They cannot impose additional qualifications.
Yeah, correct.
And so this actually came up with the case of Adam Clayton Powell in New York City. He was a congressman, and, members did not like him. He engaged in behavior that was considered unseemly. He challenged it. My understanding is up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that they cannot put additional qualifications beyond what the Constitution does.
So he was the right age. He was from the district, et cetera.
Exactly. But they can go after the election process. Were they elected fairly? And actually, there's 2 elections that really stand out. One was in the mid-1980s, and a Republican was denied a seat, I believe it was from Indiana. And the Republicans, it was a majority Democrat House of Representatives, the Republicans led by Newt Gingrich said, this is ridiculous. Why are we putting up with that? So Newt Gingrich and these others overthrew the existing order in the Republican Party got rid of their minority leader, Bob Michael. Eventually, Newt Gingrich used that as a stepping stone to becoming the Speaker of the House in the 1990s. But everybody traces it back to this disputed election where a Republican was denied a seat. And the Republicans in the House did not fight strongly enough, and other Republicans
Knew wasn't going to stand for it.
exactly. So they were going to fight. And then this came up again in the election of 2018 in North Carolina, where there was clear allegations of illegal behavior by political operatives hired by the winning Republican candidate. And it was so bad that the state refused to certify the election. And the Democratic leadership, it was majority-controlled Democrats in the House, they just said, we're not going to seat whoever wins.
Yeah.
We want a redo. And North Carolina has ordered a redo, and that will take place in 2019.
Meanwhile, that district is technically unrepresented.
Is unrepresented. Isn't that
and we've
beautiful?
talked about that in other clauses.
Yeah. Yes. So that's the first thing. Each house shall be a judge of the election's return and qualifications of its own members. And you have to have a majority to constitute a quorum, and that's certainly an important thing, but that's also
parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, that's pretty basic.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, and it goes on to say it may authorize to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house shall provide.
So they could send the marshal after them.
They could send the marshal. There's been cases where people have been brought in on gurneys from hospitals for important votes in case of filibusters, that sort of stuff.
Now, not too long ago, a bunch of lawmakers in Texas fled. Now, this is at the state level.
This is at the state level.
They fled and stayed in New Mexico hotels and Oklahoma hotels. Anything like that ever happen in the U.S. Congress?
No, and the reason for it is that the marshals can compel membership to show up. They can go any place in the country.
Yeah, they've got nationwide jurisdiction.
Yeah, whereas in the case of Texas, they didn't have jurisdiction in Oklahoma or New Mexico.
Yeah.
But that was pretty funny. They went where'd they go? Was it Lawton, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, just over the border to the first town with the Best Western.
Yeah, and they sat there and waved at everybody in Texas.
We're just not going to give you a quorum, and we're just not going to be there.
That's right. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a quorum to do some business.
Correct.
You watch on C-SPAN in the House and the Senate.
It's a ghost town.
Yeah, exactly. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. And that's okay because it actually allows for this. It says a smaller number may adjourn from day to day. Quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day. And then it goes on to say to compel attendance of absent members. So you don't need everybody there all the time.
Because not everything is an action item.
Exactly. And it was the dawn of C-SPAN, which recently celebrated its 40th birthday, where some members realized, hey, you know, in those quiet times when people are just giving speeches, I can go and give a speech, and it will be seen by a nationwide audience of people who can't sleep.
That's right.
And so
instead of all the people that are my colleagues,
that's right,
that aren't at their desk.
That's right.
Yes.
And the camera has to focus on you. And so it was certain members who realized this was a great way to get their message out to the people.
And it goes into the Congressional Record.
It goes into the Congressional Record as part of the Congressional Journal, and
then
we'll get to those.
Throw it up on
later.
YouTube, I don't know, like a series like this. And then you can put a link out there and all your re-election stuff. Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Or, you know, candidates, or not just candidates, members of Congress, they send out emails to all their supporters.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, there's links in there too. This is what I said from the House floor.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're looking at it and you go, wow, everybody's paying attention to what he's saying. And the reality is nobody's paying attention to it.
That's the shortfall of a one-camera shoot.
Yeah, but it looks beautiful.
You never get to pan the audience. Never had that close-up. Ready to take two. Look at that facial response there. That's what we're looking for.
Yes.
No, it's just ready one, take one, and stay.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, the House does have control of those cameras. So does the Senate. So they can make sure that behavior that's unseemly isn't being shown on those things too.
So if you decide to come and protest, they don't have to put the camera on you.
They don't have to put the camera on you at all. Okay. And as a consequence, they also don't have to jerk the camera back to show that you're speaking to an empty chamber either.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's hard.
and by the way, one other thing, this little bit about C-SPAN, it was only after C-SPAN that members started bringing these huge posters that had their messages on the posters because it looks good on television.
Yeah, you need something that's visually appealing.
Yeah, got to keep the audience out there of insomniacs watching. So,
Great.
anyway, there you go.
Is that our line?
That is our line.
In toto.
In
so
toto.
It's kind of a little bit of a housekeeping part of the Constitution, but it actually has some teeth to it sometimes when it's applied.
Yeah, I just get a kick out of the idea that the House and the Senate can compel members to attend. You know, you can't skirt your job.
No, you got to do
You
your
have
job.
to vote. You have to vote. You have to be there. And they can make you be there. They can go out and, in essence, arrest you, in one sense, to show up.
Say, come to work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
All right, so we're going to wrap up this, which is Article 1. Section 5, Clause 1. And the next one will be Clause 2.
He can count.
All right, we'll see you next time on the Constitution, line by line.